Hey there, Math Aces, and welcome to Mr. Ace Math. In this lesson, we're going to go over everything you'll need to know about LCM. And LCM stands for Least Common Multiple. Let's start with the lesson breakdown. And just so you know, you'll find this exact lesson breakdown in the description below with timestamps next to each part. Feel free to click on whichever part you need most. First, we'll go over what exactly LCM is. After that, we'll go over 3 examples of how to find the LCM. After that, we'll have the pause and practice, where you get to try some questions of your own based on everything you should have learned. After that, the answers will be revealed, followed by the reflection, where we recap everything we learned from this lesson. But in order to do well in this lesson, you're going to have to make sure you have the following skills. First, make sure you're comfortable with basic multiplication, and you should be comfortable with the multiples of a number. So make sure you know those, and let's get started. So like we said before, LCM stands for Least Common Multiple. And the least common multiple is the smallest multiple that 2 or more numbers have in common. So let's say we're trying to find the least common multiple for the numbers 2 and 5. Well, there are 3 steps to finding the LCM. Step number 1. List up to the first 10 multiples of the smaller number or numbers. Step number 2. Start listing multiples of the largest number. And step number 3, stop when you find a match. And just a brief note, if you ever have a situation where you haven't found any matching multiples, list 5 more multiples for each of the numbers you're talking about. So let's get back to our example. So we're trying to find the multiples of 2 and 5. It's always important to make sure that you're neat with your work. So here, I'll write the number 2, and here, I'll write the number 5. And in this space here, I'm going to write all the multiples starting with the smallest number. 2 is our smaller number here, so I'll write up to the first 10. It doesn't have to be exactly 10, but maybe the first 8, 9, or 10. Just start writing multiples. So let's go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. So those are the first 10 multiples for our smallest number 2. Now we'll start listing the multiples for 5. And we'll keep going until we find a match, because we're looking for the least common multiple. We don't care about the other common multiples, we only want the smallest one. So the first multiple for 5 is the number 5. There's no match here, so I can keep going. And what's the next multiple of 5? Well, that's 10. Do you see 10 here? Absolutely. They both have 10, and that means that the LCM, or the least common multiple, the smallest or least smallest multiple that they share, is the number 10. So again, the LCM for 2 and 5 is the value 10. Let's check out our next example. Here we're talking about the numbers 9 and 12. So here I'll put the number 9, and here I'll put the number 12. The smallest number we have here that we're talking about is the number 9. So we'll start by writing about 10 multiples of 9. So let's do it. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, and so on. If we need to use more, we can always use more, but that's a good list. Now, we'll write each multiple for the number 12, going one at a time and stopping whenever we find a match. So our first multiple is 12. Not there. So let's go to the next one, which is 12 times 2, which is 24. Also not there. The next one would be 12 times 3, which is 36. Well, that is here. And since 9 has the multiple 36 and 12 has the multiple 36, and it's the smallest or least multiple that they share or have in common, that means that the LCM for 9 and 12 is 36. Let's take a look at our last example. Here we have our work cut out for us, because here in this example we've got 3 numbers. But don't get fooled and don't get tricked. You still need to start off by being neat, so let's make a space for all of our work. So we've got 10, 15, and 30. Let's write the number 10 here, the number 15 here, and the number 30 here. And again, we're going to start with our smaller numbers and write the first 10 multiples or so of those values. So we'll start by writing the multiples of 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and they go on and on and on forever. Now we'll do the same exact thing for 15. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, 120, 135, and that can go on forever and ever and ever. Now we're at 30, which is the biggest number in the group of values we're talking about. So let's start with the multiples of 30 one at a time. So the first multiple of 30 is 30. And aren't we lucky, because they all have the multiple 30 listed. Because 30 is a multiple of 10, 30 is a multiple of 15, and 30 is a multiple of 30, and it's the smallest multiple they all share or have in common. That means that the LCM for 10, 15, and 30 is 30. So here's your pause and practice. Just pause and practice. Hit the pause button and try these 6 questions. Once you're done, hit the play button to see if your answers are correct. Ready, set, go. So let's take a look at our answers. Number 1, the LCM of 4 and 28, the LCM of 10 and 12 is 60. Number 3, the LCM of 8 and 12 equals 24. Number 4, the LCM of 5 and 6 is 30. Number 5, the LCM of 9 and 4 is 36. And number 6, the LCM of 7 and 3 is 21. So how'd you do, Math Aces? If you got everything right, I want you to put Pause and Practice Pro in the comments. And if you got just one wrong, I want you to share this lesson with a friend. So what did we learn from this lesson? Any result of multiplying a specific number by another number is called a multiple. The smallest multiple that 2 or more numbers have in common is called the least common multiple, also known as the LCM. The 3 steps of finding the LCM are: Step 1. List up to the first 10 multiples of the smallest numbers. Number 2. Start listing the multiples of the largest number one at a time. And step 3. Stop when you find a match, because remember, you're looking for the least common multiple, so when you start listing the multiples of the largest number, you should be able to find it right away. So there you have it, Math Aces, everything that you need to know about least common multiples, also known as LCM. I hope this helps.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Questions? Comments? Leave them down below.
And thanks for using Mr. Ace Math. Don't just pass math, ace it.